One of the top questions that I've been getting recently is what can you do to set yourself up for success before your first accounting job? And the answer is simple. Know how to use Excel. Specifically, know how to do XLookups, VLOOKUPs, some ifs, basic pivot tables, and basic conditional formatting. So I decided to put together a mini Excel series where I'm going to show you how to do these formulas step by step using accounting examples. And in today's video, we are going to start with XLookups. We are specifically going to go over how to do an XLookup, a two-way XLookup, a three-way XLookup, and how to do XLookups using data validation lists. Hi, my name is Kelly Randolph. I have worked in corporate accounting for over 10 years now. I have worked at both Fortune 200 and Fortune 500 companies, and I'm currently a financial reporting manager. As someone who works in accounting, knowing Excel is going to make your job so much easier. So let's get into how to do XLookups. I created an example spreadsheet with 3 example general ledgers, which is what we are going to use as we learn how to do XLookups. So let's go over the first example. So in this example, we are going to learn how to do an XLookup. We want to look up net income in this example using our general ledger for the month of January. This general ledger is set up to mimic an HFM adhoc, which is a tool that is very commonly used in accounting. Now, this is a mock HFM adhoc, so it is not an exact replica of what HFM would look like, but it is very similar. So as you can see, we have our entity, our period, our year. We are saying the view that we want, which is year to date, and the currency USD. And then we also have all of our accounts listed in column A. We want to look up net income for January, which we can see is $2,350,000. Let's create a lookup that will pull this amount for us. We start with equals XLookup. We select the criteria we are looking up, which is our account net income. We then tell the formula, where are we looking this up? As you can see, it says lookup array. We are looking this up where the accounts are located, column A, 6 through 16. Then it is now asking for our return array. It's saying, once I find the account, where would I be able to find the return value? So now we want to highlight the return array values, which is column B, 6 through 16. Now we close off our formula with a parentheses and we hit enter. As you can see, our formula did correctly find the amount $2,350,000. And that is how you do an XLookup. But now, how would you do a two-way XLookup? I created another general ledger example for us. In this example, though, instead of just showing January, we are also now showing February and March activity. In this example, the 2 criteria that we are looking up is going to be February for the month, and then our account is operating income. To do this example, we are going to type equals XLookup. Now we are going to select our first criteria. You could choose either of these, but I'm going to choose February in this example. And so we click on February. Similar to our last example, it's asking where would I be able to locate this period? So now we want to highlight the months, which is going to be row 2 and then column B, C, and D. Now, instead of selecting our return array, because we have a second value, we want to type XLookup again for our second criteria. So our second criteria in this example is going to be our account operating income. We click on operating income. And similarly, it is asking what is the lookup array for our account. So we want to highlight the accounts where operating income can be located. And finally, it is saying, what is the return array? It's saying, once I find the correct period and the correct account, where would I be able to locate that value? And so this is where we want to highlight our return array. And now we want to end our formula with 2 parentheses and we hit enter. It is saying for the period February, the operating income is $2,500,000. Let's check if this is correct. February operating income, $2,500,000. $500,000. This is accurate. That is how you do a two-way XLookup. Now, if you wanted to do an XLookup using data validation lists, I will show you how to do that. As you can see, we have the period February, and the account is selling general and administrative. We have our two-way XLookup formula already typed out, and now we want to add a data validation list. If you were to type March here, you can see the amount is now $900,000. But if you wanted to type a different account, you would have to go back to the general ledger, look up the account that you wanted, and then you could type it in where the account criteria is located. So let's say interest expense. In order to add our data validation list, you would go to data at the top of your ribbon and select data validation. Then right now it says allow any value. We don't want that. We want it to say list. Now it's saying what is the source of your list. So this is where we would select where our accounts are located. So we're going to go to GL 2026 and we are going to highlight our accounts. Now I'm hitting enter and OK. And so now you can see it's taken all of our accounts and put it in a list where someone using our spreadsheet can select the account they're looking for more easily, and then the different amounts associated with that account will populate. It's kind of neat to be able to do something like that. Similarly, let's do periods. We are just going to highlight our periods, hit enter, and OK. And now you can have our different periods available to choose from and our different accounts. So that is how a data validation list would work. Now let's do a three-way XLookup using an accounting example of an income statement. We are going to build out our income statement using this formula. The three criteria that we are using this time is going to be our period, March, our year, 2026, and our account. In order to do a three-way XLookup this time, we are going to type equals XLookup. Now, the way a three-way lookup is created, we actually have to use the and sign in order for us to do our three-way lookup. This time we are going to select March and our year, 2026. Now we are going to add our lookup array, so where the formula would be able to locate our periods and our years. Now we are going to select the general ledger that I created. This time you can see the general ledger is for 2026 and 2025 for the periods January through March. Our first criteria that we selected is March. Where can the formula find March? Well, it can find it here. The second criteria we selected is the year. So this time, similarly, we did C3 March and C4 2026. Similarly, we now have to add the and sign here. So we are going to put and there. And now where can it find this year? And so now we are going to highlight where it can find the year. Now we are going to do a comma. And then we want to do XLookup again and add our third criteria. Our third criteria this time is going to be our account. Now we want to select net sales. Now do a comma and show the formula where it would be able to locate net sales. And finally, we want to add our return array. We want to show the formula once you locate the month and the year and the account. This is where you would be able to find our return value. Now we are highlighting our return array and we want to close off our formula with 2 parentheses and hit enter. As you can see, it is saying for March 2026 net sales, the amount to be returned is $7 million. So let's check that. March 2026 net sales, $7 million. That is correct. So this is how you would do a three-way XLookup. Now we want to be able to drag our formula down. Right now, if you were just to Command C and paste, it shows not applicable. Well, what is happening? You can see this is our formula that works. When I do Control Paste, it's now changing our cell to C4, C5. C4 is now the year and C5 is here. So you can see it is not pasting our cells properly. So how do we fix this? Well, in this case, we need to lock our cell values. So the way you can do this is you can type the money sign here. We want to keep this cell stagnant. We do not want this to move. We have to put a money sign here and a money sign here, and this is going to lock your cells C3, C4. Another way you could do this instead of manually typing the money sign is by hitting FN, F4. You can see when I do that, it's adding and moving around the money sign. Those are two ways that you could go about adding the money sign. I'm just manually adding the money sign at this point in time, so that way we can go over the formula. Now it's saying this is where you are able to find these values. We also want this to be locked because these are not going to change. The only thing that is going to change is our account. Let's lock in B2 through G2 and B3 through G3. Now we are getting to the account B5. In this instance, the column where our account is located is not going to change. So we are going to lock in B. However, the row that the account is located is going to change. So we are not going to lock in the number 5, but we are going to lock in where the accounts can be located and our return array, and hit enter. Now, when you do a Control C and a Control V, now our formula is properly working. March 2026 cost of sales for $3 million. Let's check that. March 2026 cost of sales $3 million. So we can see it is working. Now you can just paste your formula in all the different areas where you would need to see it. And our income statement is complete. In this video, you learned how to do XLookups, two-way XLookups, an XLookup with 3 criteria. You also learned how to do data validation lists, and we built out an income statement. So hopefully this video is helpful. And if you like this video, definitely give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.